You should probably move.
Imagine a healthy human athlete fused with a mighty weaponized android body. Well, that's Victor Stone, aka Cyborg. Now, there is no denying that this technical marvel here is more machine than human. To top things further, he even exhibits self-regenerative systems. Add to this an electronic eye that replicates vision at a superhuman level. And let's not forget that he also happens to be the very host of quite a list of new skills, such as EMP blasts, underwater adaptation, and technology absorption. A creation of the celebrated duo Marv Wolfman and George Perez. Well, this brings us to the main content of today's video, where we will be exploring Cyborg's physique, powers, anatomical details, and many other exciting things. All you gotta do is stay tuned till the end of this video to find out. But before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you, and let's begin.
I had an accident that should have killed me. But in an act of desperation or madness,
Can Cyborg get his human body back? Like it or not, Victor Stone was transformed into the superhero Cyborg much against his will. While getting a cybernetic upgrade that is furnished with alien technology, as well as powerful weaponry, might usually appear to be a dream come true moment, we can't truly vouch the same in case of Victor. Now the question remains, if Cyborg can get his human body back? Well, of course he can, and in fact he actually did get his human body back. As per the events of Wretched of the Earth, the 19th issue of the 2016 Cyborg comic series, Cyborg had gone on a scientific mission in a war-torn region of Africa. There, he not only happened to lay his hands on this mystical rhino horn, but also crossed paths with a djinn called Gyundafu. With Gyundafu addressing Victor's cyborg form as a unique condition, Victor told him that there was nothing wrong with him. But with Gyundafu further introducing himself as a magical being who could grant him 3 wishes, Victor told him his heart's burning desire, which no points for guessing, was to have his human body back. Voila! The djinn turned him human, and we are literally talking about a human Victor who could feel his lungs breathing, heart beating, and stomach churning. But those were just the good parts. The human Victor soon started sweating, and worst of all, a single bullet made him realize that he had lost his superhuman privileges. To top things further, Victor also started exhibiting signs of malaria. This surely does make us wonder if he would make another wish, this time to have his cybernetic body back. Can Cyborg become a Transformer? It is only fitting that a character as interesting and dynamic as the half-man, half-robot Cyborg be able to turn himself into a Transformer. If we take a look at the second part of the Wretched of the Earth storyline, Cyborg was seen becoming a Transformer in a classic manner, may we add, and with the sole objective of fighting the evil Guardians of the United Republic GUR General. With the General using the very powers of the magical Rhino Horn, he transformed himself into a powerful, massive Rockman. Call it an act of retaliation because Victor, as Cyborg, was seen resorting to his ability of having incredible control over machines, and in this case, a car, by absorbing the powers of a Jeep and transforming himself into a Transformer. This is by far the coolest ability that Cyborg has had on display, and no points for guessing that he managed to take down the evil general effortlessly post his powerful upgrade. Can he reproduce? Okay, this is definitely a bit awkward given that we are talking about Cyborg here, but there is just no reason why he cannot reproduce. To begin with, as long as he has his natural parts intact and functional, he does have the green signal. After all, there was this time when he did disguise his appearance to an extent that he actually passed as this fully organic human, being much like the regulars. So the solitary fact that he is very much capable of giving his mechanical parts warmth and texture, both as close to flesh, can often make one wonder if he, at the end of the day, will be able to satisfy his part. Well, of course, the partner has to be okay to do it with a cyborg in the first place. Is he vulnerable to mind control? Our focus happens to be a superhero who categorically has a heightened level of intellect. In other words, an intelligence quotient level that happens to be 170. This means not only is he highly gifted, but he also happens to be a computer himself. And while our superhero has the ability to control machines at his wish, sadly he is not able to do the same thing when it comes to controlling his mind. In spite of all the data that he's capable of having access to in his brain, he does have a vulnerable mind, and there's no denying that. In fact, in the 5th issue of Justice League vs. Suicide Squad, it was shown how a short episode of telepathy had Cyborg turn against his own friends. Half man, half machine. How did Victor Stone become Cyborg, and what is he made of? Call it a terrible twist of fate or whatever you want, but high school football star Victor Stone's life took a drastically different turn post him coming in contact with an otherworldly living computer known as the Mother Box that his father, Dr. Stone, and his team were studying at Star Labs. The alien machine exploded, resulting in Victor getting horribly burnt in the process and almost on the verge of death. Dr. Stone, in a desperate attempt to bring his son back from the very edge of death's door, took him to the lab's Red Room, which conclusively had the most advanced forms of technology that there was on Earth. But by then, the energy of the Mother Box had already merged with the flesh of Victor. Left with no other options, Dr. Stone had Prometheum skin grafted to replace the damaged tissues. However, afraid that Victor's excessively burnt body would reject the skin grafts, Dr. Stone ended up injecting his son with untested nanites, or in simpler words, microscopic molecular computers that could be controlled by conscious thought and design, thus also allowing control over the cellular process. Victor died for a brief moment, only to come back to life as half machine, half man, Cyborg. Initially, the technology merged with him seemed a bit rough, undeveloped, or more like cobbled together, but that was only because the technology was not done transforming him entirely. Victor's body started getting fused further with more and more technology from around the Red Room, and ultimately with the Mother Box, which in turn made him super powerful and his mind became a quantum computer. While most of parts of his body appeared metallic and cybernetic, it was just his right eye, add to this a bit of his face and head which was human. The nifty cybernetic implants eventually gave Cyborg control over his physical form, and he in due course emerged into an ultra-modern high-tech superhero. Can he travel to different multiverses? The answer is yes, and before we dive into the details, we need to explain the concept of hypertime. For those who are not aware of it, hypertime is basically an interconnected flow of realities, one where time had diverged from the main universe at a certain point. It showed the alternate realities which were created due to the multiverse, and hypertime was a way to travel throughout the different multiverses. Now that we're clear, we will be delving into the 33rd issue of Justice League Volume 3. There, not only did Cyborg transport himself into the web of time streams outside the multiverse, or in simpler words, the hypertime, but he had also the power to have the League transported there. Mind you, this is something which not even the Flash is capable of doing, even if he resorts to the Speed Force. Can he absorb the power of other superheroes? For someone who has complete control over matter and energy, has the ability to manipulate reality itself and also fabricate as well as initialize as many technological adaptations as he wants in order to deal with enemies who cross his path. He is very much capable of absorbing the power of other superheroes. You can even call it his power of adaptive countermeasures, which lets him absorb as well as redistribute energy for that matter. Is he immortal? There is no denying that Cyborg has died several times only to come back later in the comics, just like the other heroes do, but having said that, his deaths and resurrections have mostly been quite different from the other heroes, and we're pretty sure that the hardcore fans of Cyborg will agree with us here on this. Also, because Cyborg's body is always at risk when it comes to viruses, he has lost his mind, or should we say his mind has been taken over many times before. Like for instance, one of the first times when Cyborg was rebuilt post his death, he lost his mind due to Russian scientists capturing him and altering his very mind to understand how he functioned and then accordingly use him as per their requirements. Luckily, his mind was later reinstated by this intelligent race of aliens who were known as the Technis. But even though they had restored him, he was made to incorporate his mind with a Technis planet, one that was entirely made from technology. That's when he had taken on the name Siberian and turned into a villain solely because of Technis' influence over him. In due course, it was the Teen Titans who would not only be able to unlock his mind but also have it downloaded into a whole new body. In short, it is only fair to say that when it comes to Cyborg's body and mind, they can both be restored as well as transferred. How can Cyborg be defeated? Please note that should the need arise, Batman will go to extreme lengths to take down this particularly shiny metal pal down. After all, let's not disregard that one time when Batman had implanted Cyborg with a virus as a means to stop him. Now, as we take a further peek into Cyborg's weaknesses, we have to mention his vulnerability to magic. Mind you, both the mechanical as well as physical parts of his body are susceptible to magic and can have quite a disastrous effect. There was this particular battle against the Fearsome Five where Jinx almost had a part of Cyborg's body altered to liquid metal. Last but not least, let us not miss out on his missing eye. No pun intended. While there is no denying that the electronic eye does give him enhanced vision, like it or not, the fact that he does not really have an eye happens to be a major weakness of Cyborg. Marvelous verdict. While the character of Cyborg initially appeared as a member of the Teen Titans, DC Comics saw the character's potential and elevated him eventually, making him a founding member of the Justice League in the New 52. Both iterations have interesting origin stories, and his super cybernetic powers truly set him apart from every other hero. DC's Cybernetic Man is definitely not one to be taken lightly. Well, with this, we finally come to the end of our video here. So, what is it that you fancy the most about Victor Stone, aka Cyborg? Hit us with your thoughts in the comments section. And also, stay tuned with us, and we promise to come back with more exciting content.